Hello students, I'm your Ramana sir. In this video, we're gonna learn Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. Students, do you remember last year we studied The Road Not Taken? It was a lovely poem, a simple theme, choice making. Robert Frost poems almost all. He takes some objects. Those objects represent beautiful themes. Road, choice of making, mending wall, home burial, and fire and ice, a class grade 10. In our classes, grade 10, that we are going to study later. And today, Dust of Snow. One more thing I just want to recollect to you. One of his poems. Our former Prime Minister Nehru, who used to keep his 4 lines on his table, every day used to read, observe those lines, beautiful lines. One of his poems. The name of the poem, Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. The 4 lines are very famous. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Those lines are very interesting lines. They give us a lot of motivation. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Beauty is next, duty is first. Wonderful themes. And today, Dust of Snow, a small poem, short poem, but it has a larger significance. And before I start the poem, I want to ask you, dear children, I want to ask you, what is a poem, first of all? And is it a poem or poem? And as you are Indians, and we should understand, first of all, poem related and poem, a poem. Which one is correct? A poem, a poem. Which word is correct sound? Poem and poem. Poem. And I go for this one. This sound is a good UK, and this is USA. And your wish, which one you can take? Poem is correct, and poem is correct. And Wordsworth, in the words of Wordsworth, nature poet, and he says that poem is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings recollected in tranquility. In the words of Wordsworth, a nature poet. That's a poem we should enjoy. Matthew Arnold says about a poem, poem is a criticism of human life or human. Alright, so before we go into the details of the poem, and let's move on to the details of Robert Frost. Robert Frost, and he was influenced by the British poet Ezra Pound. His influence was a lot, and moreover, he was an American poet that you can see here, an American poet. Lee Frost, complete is a full name is Robert Lee Frost, March 26, 1874, and January 29 and 29, 1963, and he was an American poet and used simple language to express complex social and philosophical themes. Now, we can understand that he is the poet to receive 4 Pulitzer Prizes. Pulitzer Prizes are given for literary success. In literature, who produce a magnum opus, great works, those who receive the prizes, Pulitzer Prizes, and he received 4 times. It's not an ordinary thing. And children, and Shakespeare was called a bard of Avon, and he is called and the poet of laureate of Vermont, and it was located in England, and basically was an American and who settled in England. This poem was a winning prize poem, Pulitzer Prize winning prize poem, and volume of poetry in New Hampshire. It was published. Right now, let us see once Frost uses a conventional AB rhyme scheme and omits. In this poem, almost he omitted adjectives and adverbs. He omitted adjectives and adverbs. He omitted, and we cannot find out adjective and adverbs. Right, children. And now let us see, go into the poem. This is all about Robert Frost and a great poet laureate of Vermont, and he was nominated for 31 times for Nobel Prize for 31 times. He was nominated. So such a poet he was, and he was an influenced poet. He was influenced by a British poet, Ezra Pound. Right? He influenced a lot of minds, even one among them. We want to speak the better English, and we can take the beautiful lines of his poetry for our speeches. Thank you. And the poem Dust of Snow, very simple, 8 lines. That tells, now see here, the 8 lines, 4 lines here, and 4 lines, second stanza 4 lines, second stanza 4 lines, and first stanza 4 lines. But we feel that the small poem, 8 lines only, what does it deal with? No. Short poem gives very sweet meaning, short and sweet. So now once, let us see once the poem. Let's move on to the poem once. After theme, after literary devices, we can discuss. All right, children. And I'm not a singer, but I try my level best to sing the lines, because a poem means singing. The main motto or the main objective of the poem is to amuse the mind, literary aesthetic, to express a literary aesthetic. Right. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from hemlock tree. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from hemlock tree, has given my heart a change a moon, has given my heart a change a moon, and saved some part of day had a rule, and saved some part of day had a rule. Right. So I never mind that I'm not a singer, but try to bear me my singing. I'm not good at singing, but of course I try to amuse your minds. The way a crow shook down on me, The dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day hard road. The poet's experience that we can see here. The poet's experience. What was the poet's experience? Now see the way a crow. Which way? Which way? The way. The sitting. Now see here the way a crow shook down on me. The poet Robert Frost was sitting under a hemlock tree. First stanza that deals with one element hemlock tree, second element a crow. Next element is here shook down on me a dust of snow. Three elements. One is a crow, and second one is hemlock tree, hemlock tree and dust of snow. Three elements here presented, and basically now we can see here first stanza crow. Why do we use crow for a symbolic? What is the symbolic representation of the crow? Sad feelings, to express sadness, because its color is black and dark board, blackboard, and that is a bad omen. Generally we the Indians, and we feel that it is a bad omen. Not only Indians, I think or other people also. Bad omen. Okay, easy ones. Bad omen. Next. And hemlock tree, a poisonous tree, and that represents death. That represents death. The two elements, one is a crow, sad, and hemlock tree, that also sad. So it is actually not significantly, the poet has taken significantly to these two elements. We try to understand that. What was the position of the poet. Through the elements we can understand that the position of the poet, not here elements. The main significant or significantly expressed that poet was not in good mood, and this represents sad, and this is also very melancholic situation. So that the first stanza that tells us a lot of insight, larger significance, that the poet was not good. The poet was not good. The poet's condition was not good. It was a sad. The poet is sad here. The first stanza, the poet is sad. We don't know the reason. Perhaps it's a family problem, or human being means he has to face a lot of problems. As our life is full of challenges, we have to face them all. But sometimes what happens, and the solutions are not answerable, and sometimes the solution, the nature gives a solution. The nature gives solace. The nature heals even sometimes. That is what nature is, the best teacher. Nature is a good healer. All right. Now, here the poet's problem that we can see here. The poet's problem of the poet. Problem of the poet, and we can see here. And he was in not good condition, and he came out, though it was a winter season, dust of snow that resemblances, and it indicates that winter season. Winter, and almost Robert Frost related life. We can see that most of his life that he spent his life in England. Basically, he was American, but he spent and settled in England. That's why he was influenced by British poet Ezra Pound. Right, so that we can see that England situation, climatical conditions, we can see that biting cold, very severe cold. So that moment he came out, then we can understand that he was in completely in melancholic situation. So and the next stanza, let us see once. The next stanza, let's see. And has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day hard road. And first of all, we should understand it is an inversion. inversion, inversion, reverse order, inversion, inversion, reverse order. The poet has given the sentence reverse order. My heart has given a change of mood. This is a right order, but the poet used to emphasize the sentence to create a rhyming with part and heart, to create a rhyming scheme, and to create or give emphasis to the sentence has given my heart, has given my heart, my heart has given. This is ordinary sentence style and construction, right. So the poet used inversion here. You can see in examination you will be asked what is the inverted sentence or inversion sentence. This is the inversion sentence that you can remember, and let's see difficult meanings here. Two difficult glossary, and we have to understand the two meanings. One is hemlock tree, a poisonous tree with a small white flowers, and now it is also medicinary plant actually, and it is used for number of medicines, making medicines, and yeah, we can see the tree even in our video also. And root, the sound is root. This is a verb one actually, roo, V1, and V2, V3 is root, past tense. Held in regret. The meaning root is regret. What is the meaning? Regret means sad. So, and these two are words, difficult meanings that we have to understand. So second stanza, what does the second stanza tells us? Second stanza tells us that the effect are the solution. Who gives solution? Nature gives solution. The first stanza that tells us the problem P, and next stanza that tells us the solution S. That means has given my heart. The poet was in the first stanza. The poet was not in good condition. It was a very sad, melancholic situation, and now he came out. Even a biting cold, the situation, the climatical condition was not good. He came in and sits under the hemlock tree, and the crow coincidentally, and the crow shook one of the branches of the dust of the hemlock tree branches above, and it shook, and then some of the particles of flakes rise, and what is that? Snowflakes have fallen on one of the parts of the body, and immediately he changed his mood. And he was sad and immediately changed. Sometimes what happened, and a smaller thing even gives a larger significance and gives a lot of effective one. So thus he was saved. So this is what the poet, then he saved the rest of the day, and he became an ordinary person. And he has a problem, or he was in a sad condition, and he came into the nature, and he sits under the hemlock tree, and the nature gives a solution. And that's what the poem is. Sad to happy position. Happy, H-A-P-P-Y, happy. And unhappy to, or unhappy to happy. Unhappy to happy. First stanza unhappy, next happy. First stanza optimistic position, pessimistic position, pessimism, and he become optimistic situation. He became optimistic position, and now he saved the rest of the day. That's what the poem is. Okay, and then once again we see the poem Dust of Snow represents a movement that seems simple but has a larger significance, and we can compare with other quotations of here and Robert Frost. Always a larger significance. A little thing touches a larger thing. Sometimes even we feel that tiniest thing. No, sometimes they give a lot of impact or effect. You're right. And the dust of snow is only 8 lines long, seems to be the simplest sort of poems with full and rhymed short lines. And the rhyme scheme, let us see once. Okay, after that we can see literary devices also. And this is what the poem is. This is what the poem is. Once again, what is the poem? Please, once I tell you that the poet recounts a small incident that changed his mood, and he was feeling depressed and hopeless. He was feeling depressed and hopeless, and he was standing under a hemlock tree, and a crow sitting on it, and shook, shaken, shaken. The past tense verb, shook, shake, V1, and shook, V2, past tense, and shaken, V3, and past participle. And he was feeling depressed and hopeless, and he was sitting under a hemlock tree, a crow sitting on it, and shook a tree, and snowflakes fell on the poet, and thus this changed the mood of the poet. This changed the mood of the poet. And then what happened? Now let's see once. Okay, and the second stanza we can see that when the snowflakes fell on the poet, and his mood got changed from the state of sadness to happiness, and he felt refreshed. The poet felt refreshed. Earlier he had been ruining the day, and now he was very happy. He was going back. So nature, the theme is nature is a good teacher. Nature gives solution. Nature heals our sadness. Nature is the best friend. This is what the theme of the poem is. That you can go through this all. And next, literary device is very important, children. Literary device is very important. So literary and AB. The first rhyme scheme is AB. Remember, two stanzas are there. First stanza AB. In your examination, individual stanza is given, then AB. And total poem is given. Total poem means 8 lines total. Then you have to write this scheme, because 8 lines A, and CD. So only either first stanza or second stanza is given in examination, then AB. Total 8 lines are given, then this is total 8 lines are given, and then you have to write this is the rhyme scheme. Okay, and this is a rhyme scheme. And now alliteration. It is not alliteration. I say that alliteration. What is alliteration? The repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning, 2 or more words immediately succeeding each other are short intervals. Now you notice once here alliteration example. Now notice once here H sound, ha, and here also H sound, consonant sound, repetition in the same successive or succeeding line. Now see here the same line, consonant repetition, letter repetition only, remember that. And the second line you notice once, kindly notice once here sound, and next one is also some sound, 2 times repeated the same consonant sound. How many consonant sounds are there in English? And 24 consonant sounds. This is like a snake sound. And now this is alliteration example. In your examination, if you are asked find out the alliteration, means these 2 lines. Here S is ha, H. Now next assonance. It is not assonance. Generally say pronounce that assonance and some other and icons, and we should properly pronounce it assonance. And here consonant repetition. Here the repetition of similar identical vowel sounds. Remember that there are 20 vowel sounds are there in English. 24 consonant sounds. And the sound repetition Which sound repetition? And a vowel sound repetition here. Shook, oo sound. Down, ow sound. Ow sound. On, o sound, short o. On, o sound, short o. Now see here, o, repeated. And this is vowel sound repetition is called, literary device is called assonance. Not assonance, assonance. Next, symbolism. We never say that symbolism. The use of symbols to represent ideas and qualities. What is symbolism? Symbolism to represent ideas and qualities. Sometimes we can't express our words to represent. That's also sign language. And crow representation here, crow representation or symbolic representation is sadness, bad woman, and melancholic situation. And hemlock tree representation here, death, unhappy, death, hemlock tree. Dust of snow representation, nature. So this is what symbolic representation and symbolism. And next device is enjambment. Now see, not enjambment, E sound, E. Enjambment. What is enjambment? A technique of poetry whereby a sentence is carried over the next line without pauses, commas or full stops. Now let's see once enjambment here. All 8 lines are repeated. Here without a comma. Notice once, children. Notice once here, no comma, no full stop, no comma. It is carried, the line is carried till the last line. Here, notice, kindly notice once till the last line here, and here notice full stop here. Full stop is there. So this is enjambment. Enjambment means the next line is carried, the poetic line is carried to next until the end or somewhere. No punctuation, no comma, no full stops. No punctuation, no pauses. So this is what alliteration, enjambment is. And the next, figure of speech, figurative language or literary device, not figurative language. Literary device is here. You notice once, imagery. Not imagery, imagery. So language that produces pictures in the minds of people reading or listening. The poet used imagery to represent vivid picture. When we read this poem and we get some idea, what is that? Winter season. Because dust of snow, winter season representation. Winter season representation. Very clear, a vivid picture, very clear picture. That picture comes into mind, and we can imagine that what happened very clearly. That impact enters in the minds of the reader or listener. That is called imagery. Imagery means picture. Language that produces some kind of pictures in the minds of the reader or listener. Okay, children, and this is what the dust of snow. In the next video, we are going to learn Fire and Ice, beautiful poems. Let's understand, and I also request subscribe the channel. You'll get lot of videos about literature, grammar, spoken English related, and sound system related, rhythm, rhyme, meter. All in future you are going to get a lot of videos. Okay, thank you very much for watching my video. Thank you.